Hello, students. I Asha Bist. I welcome you all in Class 8th History, 3rd chapter, 2nd part, Ruling the Countryside. Dear students, in the first part, we discussed about the company becomes the Diwan of Bengal, how they collected revenue from the people, what was the need of the improvement in agriculture. We also discussed about the permanent system in which we studied about its problems also. Then we also discussed the new system, the Monroe system, as well as the Rhodes system. Now today we are going to start with the second part of this chapter. So here we begin. Crops for Europe. Earlier I told you that time the Britishers were only collecting tax from the common people, but later they thought that to have more power or to enhance more economically, they need to grow their own crops in different parts of India. So because of that, they started to grow jute in Bengal, tea in Assam, sugarcane in Uttar Pradesh, wheat in Punjab, cotton in Maharashtra, and rice in Madras. The British used a variety of methods for increasing cultivation of crops that they needed. One such crop was indigo, which had a great worldwide demand. That time, indigo had a great worldwide demand, so they also thought of growing indigo in different parts of the country. Why the demand for indigo in India? Okay, why the demand for Indian indigo, not in India, Indian indigo, the indigo which was grown in India. By the 13th century, Indian indigo was being used by cloth manufacturers in Italy, France, and Britain to dye cloth. But the price of indigo was very high that point of time. European cloth manufacturers therefore had to depend on another plant called wood to make violet and blue dyes, which were pale and dull. Therefore, cloth dyers, however, preferred indigo as a dye. Indigo is a blue color dye. First of all, let me explain you what indigo is all about. Indigo is a blue color dye. This was commonly famous during the 19th century. It was in high demand in Britain. India was considered as the largest supplier of indigo throughout the world at that time. Nowadays, we do not find the real indigo which was seen that time, which was produced earlier. This crop was unique because earlier it could be grown only in the tropical countries. Tropical countries are close to the equator zone from 0 degree to 23 degree north and 23 degree south. Above that we have temperate zone. In that are in those areas wood was growing. This was a substitute of indigo, but it was dull. As we discussed earlier, the color which wood used to give was dull and indigo used to give bright color. So most of the people they preferred indigo. The French began cultivating indigo in the Domingo in the Caribbean island, the Portuguese in Brazil, the English in Jamaica, and the Spanish in Venezuela. Between 1783 and 1789, the production of indigo in the world fell by half. Cloth dyers in Britain started looking for new sources of indigo supply. Suppliers in Britain, dear students, they favored or looked for indigo plant only. Now, due to that, what happened? The manufacturers of wood felt that their plantation will be at risk as people were demanding for more indigo. So, definitely their plantation of wood will be at risk. So, they asked the government to ban indigo. Okay, the import of indigo should be banned. For a few years, the government forced the law. Okay, they banned indigo and Later, the dyers demanded indigo because the dyers were feeling that indigo is a plant which is giving brighter color than the wood. So they demanded to remove the ban. In 17th century, the ban was finally removed. Now Britain turns to India. As indigo was grown throughout the year, people started cultivating indigo. These indigo plantation was done by basically the forced laborers. Now slowly what happened? Slowly and gradually the supply collapsed. Why it collapsed? Okay, because this was going on with African slaves, and due to the French Revolution in 1792, the slavery was abolished from France. So what happened? Now they did not have any slave to do plantation. They did not have labor at that point of time. So because of that, Britain turns towards India to have the indigo plantation grown in India. Due to this, the Britain turned to India to have the cultivation of indigo in 18th century. Now, earlier it was at very smaller scale, but in the 18th century, the indigo plantation raised till 95%. Okay, 95% of land area was covered with indigo plant. Now many of the officials also left their jobs, as they were thinking that there is more benefit in growing indigo plants. So they left their jobs and involved themselves in growing indigo plants. Now, how was indigo cultivated? Here we'll study about the process of the cultivation of indigo. Okay, at which level the indigo cultivation was done. Here there were two main systems of indigo cultivation, Nij and Rohiti. Nij and Rohiti. These were the two systems in which the indigo cultivation was going on. Now, first of all, we'll discuss the niche cultivation. Niche cultivation and its problems. In niche cultivation, most of the plantation was done under the densely populated areas, in the densely populated areas. So the land was in the densely populated areas was scattered. It was not at one place, it was scattered. Part of a land will be at a particular place and other part will be at a distant place from that, and they were trying to bring the plots to the indigo factories, and that was difficult for them. The indigo factories where most of the processing was done. For this they used to move their labors as well, and that was quite difficult for them. They also required huge amount of money for the maintenance of or purchasing the tools or the things which they required for the cultivation. So this cultivation had many problems. Okay, the planters found it difficult to expand the area under niche cultivation. Indigo could be cultivated only on fertile lands which were all already densely populated. Means that point of time the people were involved in growing other crops also. Now they were growing indigo only, so it was very difficult for them to cultivate indigo in fertile lands, as they were aware of that once the indigo plant is grown in a particular land, the fertility of the soil of that land just comes to an end. A large plantation required large number of labor at a time when peasants were usually busy with their rice cultivation. Means other than indigo, people were growing other plants also like rice. It also required many plows and bullocks. Okay, and it was very expensive that point of time. Till the late 19th century, planters were therefore reluctant to expand the area under niche cultivation. Means they were not feeling like to develop or increase the land area which was used to cultivate indigo. Now indigo on the land of Rohit system. Under the Rohit system, the planters pressurized the village headmen to sign the contract on behalf of the Rohits. Those who signed the contract got cash advances from the planters at low rates of interest to produce indigo. But the Rohit too had to cultivate indigo on at least 25% of the area under his holding. Cultivated these plants, the indigo plants cultivated on the planter's land. Okay, in Rohit system, it was cultivated on the planter's land. All the cultivators had to sign a contract that was known as Satta. In this contract, they get advance money at low interest. Advance money at low interest they used to get. They have to cultivate indigo in 25% of their land, as I have already explained it. Plants Planters used to provide them required things to grow crop like seed, tool, and other things. It was the duty of the planters to provide such things under the Rohiti system, okay, so that the cultivators can grow indigo plants. Now, when the crop was delivered to the planter after the harvest, a new loan was given to the Rohiti, and the cycle started all over again. Means one after another they had loans and they were unable to pay the loan. The price provided to the peasants for the indigo they produced was very low. Means what price they were getting was very low, and the cycle of loan never ended. It keeps on moving from one time to another. They never paid or never be able to pay their loan. Indigo also exhausted the soil rapidly as it takes out all the nutrients of the soil. After an indigo harvest, the land could not be sown with rice. It is the fact of this indigo plant, as the root of this plant goes deep inside the soil and absorbs all the nutrients of the soil, and because of that the soil loses its fertility. Okay, so due to the indigo cultivation the soil loses its fertility. Dear students, here one more thing I want to tell you regarding the indigo cultivation, the process of indigo cultivation, how indigo is cultivated. It takes place in worths. There were 3 worths. In the first worth, people used to keep indigo plants and used to boil it. First of all, the green plant of indigo were boiled in the first worths. After boiling, the rotten leaves were removed from that part. Okay, only the liquid remains there. The rotten parts, the rotten leaves were removed. The liquid used to get into the other worths. Here it is stirred with paddles. A person stands in it for more than 8 hours, covered half of his body with water, and beats it. It is really a very difficult task, very tiring task for the laborers. Finally, the liquid turns green, and then after that it turns into blue color. Then later the lime water was added to it, and then it turns into flakes. That flakes settle down under the water, and then the liquid was drained and the indigo pulp transferred to other words. This is the process through which the indigo is procured. Okay. Then the blue rebellion and after. As we all know that indigo plants are harmful for the soil, for the fertility of the soil. Due to the bad effect of indigo crop on land, most of the cultivators they did not want to grow indigo in their lands. In 1859, the indigo royals felt that they had the support of the local jamidars and village headmen in their rebellion against the planters. As the rebellion spread, intellectuals rushed to the indigo districts and wrote of the misery of the royals and tyranny of the planters and the horrors of the indigo system. They wrote about all these things. The government set up the Indigo Commission to inquire into the system. The commission held the planters guilty and criticized them for the guilty and criticized them for the cursive methods they used for indigo cultivation. After the revolt, indigo production now shifted their operation to Bihar. Okay, so what happened, as I have already told you, that due to the bad effect of indigo crop, the land, most of the cultivators did not wanted to grow indigo in their lands. They did not pay rent to the planters. Okay, what they started after that, they started to hit the people, those who came from the Britishers to collect the revenue. Even the village headmen also joined them. So due to that, the British thought, one thing came to their mind, they were scared of that, as they earlier faced 1857 situation, the first war of Indian independence, and they, that time also they were thinking that it might be a same situation here. So they did not force people to grow indigo. After the revolt, indigo production now shifted their operation to Bihar. Then Mahatma Gandhi's visit in 1917 marked the beginning of the campaign Champaran movement against the indigo planters. Now what happened? Once Mahatma Gandhi reached India from South Africa, that time he was asked to visit Champaran also. He came to Champaran and saw the poor condition of the laborers as well as the soil or the land areas which were losing their fertility due to the indigo plantation. Mahatma Gandhi, he visited in 1917, and it was the beginning of the Champaran movement, which was against the indigo planters. So this was all done to stop indigo plantation in India, as it was spoiling the fertility of land as well as it was very tiring for the laborers who were working in the factories. So dear students, this is all about the chapter. Hope you liked it and understood the concept. Just watch both the videos together so that you understand it better. As a quick revision, I'll tell you what all we studied in the chapter. We first of all studied about the Diwani which British took in Bengal. Later, how they started collecting revenue from the people, how they improved the agricultural system, what they wanted to do. We studied about the permanent settlement and the problems of permanent settlement. Then we also discussed about the Monroe system, then the Roti system, why the British reached India to grow indigo plant. Okay, how they started growing indigo plants here, how Britain turns towards India to grow the indigo plants. Then we also studied about indigo cultivation, about the Nij cultivation and Roti cultivation. Then we studied about the process of taking out indigo from indigo plants. Then at last we discussed the Blue Rebellion and afterwards Gandhiji's visit to India. So this is all we discussed in the chapter. In the upcoming chapters, we'll discuss more about Indian history. So till then, take care, be at home, be safe. Thank you.